What's going on, Tywin here? We're going to bring you some story talk about Raidriar, aka the God King. And what we know from the first two games and the two books and the two games that are out. Obviously, Infinity Blade Redemption is the newest game, and we get a lot more info about Raidriar in that game. So, this is spoiler alert. If you have not played the games or read all the books, there's going to be lots of spoilers in this game, or in this video. But first, what we know of his past. Raidriar's father was named Uriel, and Raidriar was killed by one of Uriel's co-workers, Adram, who, after being caught cheating with Uriel's wife, ran over Jory, Uriel's kid. Jory, who later becomes the God King Raidriar, runs over Jory with his car and kills him. And Uriel knows that his boss, Mr. Galeth, who is the worker of secrets, has found a way to make people immortal. So he goes and confronts him about his plan, tells him that he killed Adram, and that he wants to be part of the immortal team. Mr. Galeth, aka the worker of secrets, agrees, and then Uriel says, "Fuck you, I don't want to be immortal, but you need to save my son, you son of a bitch." Basically says that, more or less. So Jory is placed on the metal slab that you see in the rebirthing chambers. He is the youngest immortal that they've created. They don't normally use it on children, but he's freshly dead, so his quip is still intact. His QIP is still intact, and they bring him back to life. And in the final moments together, Uriel and Jory, Uriel tells Jory that he needs to become a king and make the world a better place. Fast forward several millennia, and Jory is now known as Raidriar. It is his deathless name. He is the God King, and he has fulfilled what his father wished of him in becoming a king and attempting to make the world a better place than it was, and keeping technology out of the hands of mortal beings, as they will abuse it, just like they did in Uriel's time, and where it is implied that the worker of secrets, Mr. Galeth, then cleansed the world to start anew because people had got out of control. So they create this massive world war. Everyone kills each other, basically, to set up this new world order with the Deathless. So that's his backstory. That's his brief backstory. He's always been seen as the villain, but in Infinity Blade Redemption, he ends up sacrificing himself to teleport the worker of secrets datapad somewhere where Alsar/Cyrus can find it, because the worker is about to launch a nuclear strike on the world, destroying everyone, deathless and mortal alike, and then he's going to retreat to the moon or somewhere in space while the planet heals itself, and he wants to take Raidriar with him. Raidriar decides he'd rather save his people, because he's always, more or less, even though he was a tyrant, he was doing it for his own people's good, sort of, and he ends up being a benevolent king, sacrificing himself to save not only his kingdoms and his subjects, but the entire world, and thus redeeming himself of the evils that he has perpetrated throughout his many thousands of lives. So two important things that we know so far. Raidriar was one of the first Deathless, the first and only child that we know of that was made into a Deathless. His original name is Jory, and he's known the worker of secrets since the beginning of the era of the Deathless. We also know that he is not always a tyrant, and it's implied in Infinity Blade Redemption that he has given golden ages to humanity before and let them have some technology, and that he's willing to, through a talk with Issa, we find out he is willing to let a golden age come about again, and he'd grant his people peace, prosperity, and technology. So he's not all bad as it's made out to seem, but many of us have suspected that he was truly the hero and Ausar was the actual villain, and that kind of is confirmed in Infinity Blade Redemption, where Raidriar becomes the hero even after Cyrus tries to betray him. Raidriar does what is good for the entire world and tries to stop the Worker of Secrets, thus sacrificing himself and being killed by another Infinity Blade that the Worker created. That's another thing. There are now 2 Infinity Blades in creation, but both seem to be in the possession of the Worker of Secrets at the moment. So Raidriar is now dead. In Infinity Blade Redemption, he sacrifices himself. The Worker of Secrets kills him with an Infinity Blade. He explodes in a giant blue explosion of light, and it is said that his soul, his quip, his QIP, is now sent into the infinite. It's sent to the afterlife. He's gone for good. We probably won't be able to play against him or with him in Infinity Blade 3. If we do, it'll be probably just the tutorial briefly, as he is dead, and the book Infinity Blade Redemption sets it up where Infinity Blade 3 will continue a quest of Cyrus and Issa trying to hunt down the Worker and stop him from destroying the world. Let's see, what else do we need to know about Raidriar? Those are the main things that we learned that we didn't already know. Obviously, the God King's castle that we see in Infinity Blade 1 and Infinity Blade Awakening was not one of his main strongholds, or wasn't one of his main palaces. It was just where he went to fight the sacrifice. He actually is nicer than he appears to be to his people, and has given them golden ages in the past and was going to again. He's not as selfish as we were led to believe. All his rebirthing chambers and his kingdoms are known to the Worker, and many of them were destroyed or taken over by people working for the Worker of Secrets in Infinity Blade Redemption. He also has a technology introduced in Infinity Blade Redemption. It's a holographic mask that you can wear, like a helm that he can wear that hides his face, and it can show different creatures. I think he uses a jackal maybe in Infinity Blade Redemption. I can't remember, but he can do different faces. Something that maybe we will see in Infinity Blade 3 is the holographic helms. Oh, that would be kind of cool. So unfortunately, the God King is killed, not by Cyrus, as many of us thought might happen in a final showdown, but indeed by the Worker of Secrets. So it's kind of a bummer, because Raidriar was one of my favorite characters. I was really hoping we would be able to play as him in Infinity Blade 3. If we do, it's just going to be in the tutorial, and it's going to have us be killed by the Worker of Secrets. I can't imagine that Chair would make us play through the plot of Infinity Blade Redemption as Raidriar. But that's not really how Infinity Blade Awakening worked. Infinity Blade 2 took off right where Infinity Blade Awakening ended. I'm sure they're going to do the same with Infinity Blade 3 and Infinity Blade Redemption. Let's see. Anything else of import? No, that's pretty much everything important. Raidriar does team up with Cyrus slash Alsar in Infinity Blade Redemption. The team up wasn't as cool as I thought it would be, but it's still cool to see two lifelong enemies going, helping each other and working together against the common enemy, the Worker of Secrets. Let me know in the comments section if I missed anything that you think is important about Raidriar, but I think I covered the big plot points, which is what I was trying to do. I told you about his background, how he became a Deathless, how he redeemed himself and actually became the hero, and a little bit about how he really thought about his subjects, and he actually really did seem to care about the people that he ruled, even if sometimes they felt like he was a tyrant. He was doing it because his father told him to save mankind and not let them destroy themselves with technology like they have done in the past. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be back soon with some more story talk. The next one I'm going to bring you is about Alsar slash Cyrus and the new information that we learned about him and Infinity Blade Redemption. Till next time, this is Tywin. Peace. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe for great iOS gaming content and to follow me on Twitter.